Assalamu alaikum, good morning ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for tuning into PT World and watching World this morning alongside Shahzad Khan, and for everybody who's tuned into PTV Global at the same time, a very good morning and a very warm welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, today is 9th Muharram al-Haram, and the day holds quite a lot of importance and significance in the Islamic history, and not just in the Islamic history. In fact, in general, if I would say, I think it holds quite a lot of importance for the entire humanity, all those humans who are out there, because of the fact that this day comes with a message, this day comes with a sacrifice, this day comes with a lot of other messages which we might have been forgetting about because of the fact that whatever the sacrifices were rendered for, they have been forgotten. I don't know whether we'll be correct to say whether we have forgotten them or we do not inculcate them into our schedules. There has always been two parties, oppressors and then the ones who get oppressed. And that's what it is all about. And whenever we speak of Muharram al-Haram, obviously this is where our Islamic year starts. And the way it started for quite a lot of Muslims now is not the way everybody wants it to be. Now these messages of sacrifice, now these messages of standing against or opposing all those oppressors, it is very tough, it is quite hard for people these days to do it. But then there are legends, there are people sent by God who did it for us. But are we still on that path? Are we still following what they taught us? Are we still focusing on it, or are we forgetting it? Now, first of all, the irony is that quite a lot of people, when you ask them, how would you highlight this day, or how would you highlight the importance of 9th of Muharram al-Haram, they might get a bit jittery about it because of the fact that they're not aware of the Islamic history. And then there are people who might not even belong to the same religion, but they still know what happened on this day and time. I've been joined by two scholars over here in the show today. They will highlight all the events which took place, and then we will talk about how to further go with all of these teachings after all of those sacrifices which have been made just because of the fact that oppressors will not be there, will stand against them. And then for all those people who cannot raise their voice against all those tough-headed or hard-headed people, we will be their voice. That's what the main motive was. I've been joined by Hamza Hassan Sheikh, who's a scholar, who's a poet, who's a novelist, and he's a lecturer as well. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam. Fine. How are you?
Thank you very much for coming over. I'm absolutely perfect. And alongside somebody who has been on the show, what a great mentor he is to all those students he's got, and he's busy, lecturing here and there as well. He's doing his PhD. He's been on the show several times, and he's got this power to convince you with whatever words he's going to use, because the power of your tongue can actually take you to the limits of the sky and can actually take you deeper down in the earth as well. None other than Mr. Khurramilahi. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you, sir?
Certainly. Thank you so much for such great description.
Thank you very much for coming
sad
over.
Day.
That's quite a lot of hard work you've put into your
9th Muharram is certainly a sad day, and I always recall Vincent van Gogh's last word, "The sadness will last forever." And when I look at 9th Muharram, honestly, it's the rebirth of the universe day.
It is.
Universe changed every single aspect the way we were looking earlier. And we had to alter every single assumption towards the mankind.
Exactly.
You were describing the wonderful thing, and if we can continue, then sir can take on. I came to know that power is just the difference between the mean values. And this is where Hussein...
We have discussed about it earlier.
This is what Hussein said, that power is not only about keeping extra weapons away from the mean value. It is how much you can show your tenderness, though you're looking at the sky and the angels are waiting. The miracle was not in showing off power, the miracle was in not showing off the miracle.
I think exactly that's what the miracle was, and you know, to be very honest, as I earlier mentioned as well, quite a lot of people do not know what happened
True.
on this day and time as well. So Hamza Sahab, you know, if you won't mind, let us know what happened. Why did it all happen?
Actually, this event is not happened in one day.
Exactly.
It has a long history. The problem started at the time when the Yazid took the charge of the government, and then he has his different governors in different areas, and he ordered them to take bayat from different people, from different, and they were. It doesn't mean there was just only Hussein. He has ordered to take the oath from each and every person who was at that time ruling one area or the other. So most of the people at that time, just as there was a kind of system, so most of the people took oath and they accepted Yazid as their ruler. There were just few people, just Zubair and Imam Hussein and one more person who had denied that we are not going to take the oath for his succession of this government. So later, that's the two other persons, they were belonging to different families, and they were one was son of the third caliph and one was the son of second caliph. So they were not more, as compared to Hussein, they were not more important for the government. So
Okay.
they were neglected. But it was a strict order by Yazid that Hussein should be taken oath.
Okay.
So when he was received the orders for taking oath, then there is very famous sentence of Imam Hussein alayhi salam that the person like me cannot accept you as ruler. The person like me cannot accept the person like you as my ruler. So this shows that Imam Hussein alayhi salam took a stand for the first time against oppressor, because he knew that Yazid was not a perfect ruler. He was not doing his system, his doings were not according to Sharia and law. So that then happened that he has to travel from Medina to other cities. So he traveled to Kufa. So because he has received a lot of response from people of Kufa that you should come here and we will stand with you. But later what happened, that governor of Kufa was changed and he has oppressed all the people who were with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So when Imam reached there, so his messenger, Muslim bin Aqil, was already killed.
Okay.
So when he reached there, so the people were already oppressed and they all hid in their places. So Imam has nothing other way that he made his way towards Karbala. So at the point when he reached Karbala, so he was stopped by Hur bin Rai, that you have to stay here, and Imam also chose that place which was totally a desert to stay there, and and he has decided that he will have to face the armies of Yazid here. So that is the one point which is here, that how you have to stand against oppressors, or how you have to decide about right and wrong. So this event is just not one event, or it is just not the part of Islamic history. It shows us that how you have to differentiate between right and wrong, how you have to differentiate between oppressor and the oppressed ones.
And in how many different situations as well.
Most importantly, you come from a family, I come from a family. Yazid were looking that if I win Hussein, that's the turning point. That's the real alchemy. That's the alchemy.
Yeah.
He's the one. He's the one who rode on the shoulders of the Prophet. He's the one who's been kissed on the lips by the Prophet. He's the authority. This is what Imam said in the, oh my God, that's such a big sermon, Shahzad Bhai, that on 10th of Muharram he said, I grew up with the prophecies. I grew up with the prophecies. I'm son of Batul. I'm Alif Lam Mim of Surah Baqarah. You're standing against me? Where would you run? And then he ends up, in short, Yazid knew it's all about Hussein or nothing. Yazid knew it's the point of singularity.
Exactly.
That's the single point. And when you look at it, as sir were describing, Imam Hussein made clear for the youth, for this contemporary age, for this 21st century, which is in demise of morality. If you look at West, they have extreme scientific inventions, and you have to find mankind under some rebel. They're going back to such melancholic, morbid behaviors that you can. And Imam Hussein informed the mankind of contemporary age, of 19th century, 18th, till eternity and eternity, par eternity. There is a truth or there is a false.
No great.
There is binary, 1 or a 0. There is nothing like marginal truth. There is nothing like false for a while. There is nothing like utilitarianism.
Exactly.
Your truth for a while may help 8 people. And
we'll definitely move on to this point, and this is what we want to discuss as well. And
Exactly.
this is where we are losing our own uniqueness, and
True.
this is where we lose our focus. I mean, these are the issues where we need to actually have a focus.
We play in their central philosophy and we lose the game and we come back home.
Exactly. But now continuing, okay, so
There's
now...
one thing I wanted to add, as he has discussed about the last speech of Imam Hussein. So at the last point, even, he is so much injured, he has lost his whole family. Still, he was thinking for the people who were standing against him.
Exactly.
In the last, he is saying in his speech that I am not weeping for myself. I am weeping for your judgment day. That's how you will face your gods and how you are going to face your life hereafter.
Exactly.
So you can just imagine that a person who has lost everything, who is so much injured, who has lost his near and dears, still he is thinking about the humanity. Still he is thinking about giving the message of peace to the people who are going to kill him.
And that's another example of a leader as well,
Yep.
who thinks about all those people who surround them, not just his family, not just his kids, not just people, from the family. In fact, all those people who surround them, that's who a leader is actually as well.
And he gave his message for the whole humanity.
Exactly.
And now you can, in today's world, you can see that a person who is having humanity, he believes in Imam Hussein.
And looking at
he can never stand against him.
Exactly.
And looking at the Kufian structure, as Sir described, that now Imam was called by the Kufian invitation that we will be supporting you. The Kufian structure is still alive. All those people who believe that whenever the sun comes out, that's the truth. Whoever leads my situation is the truth. All those people who believe in the central Nietzschean philosophy that power is truth, those all are Kufi even in this age. Their truth is just can be molded like we move the donkey forward. Hit him, he'll run faster. Make him slow down. You just need power again. Tell him to stop. The Kufian were nothing. The Kufian are still alive, and even Dr. Ali Shariti said, the Kufi is a phenomena now. All those people who have no central philosophy, all those people, you tell them go to right, they move to right. Go to left. Am I not telling you go to left?
Yeah.
They all are Kufian. They would only, what a line Dr. Ali Shariti wrote, they will only romanticize the religion. Oh Imam Hussein, come. You are the worthy Caliph. You are Noor of Muhammad. Please come to us. And when they would see, oh my God, he's alone. Oh my God, he does not have that much of wealth, the worldly mundane wealth.
Yeah.
Hence, when they looked at all those attributes, they backed off. They looked at the material world, they looked at the sun, they looked at the power structure Yazid was having. And hence, one of the...
Exactly, and this is where we build up on it as well. But before we move on, you might have written something about it as well, and if you want to share it with us, go ahead, so that we can move on with the conversation, and we could let people know what they're supposed to do on this day.
Humanity. Do you remember Hussein when you drink water? Do you remember Hussein when you eat foods? Do you remember Hussein when you watch blood? Do you remember Hussein when you watch warm sands? Do you remember Hussein when you watch burning eaves? Do you remember Hussein when you lose your dearest? If no, then ask yourself, am I a human? If yes, then understand you are void of humanity.
Wow, quite great. And on this day, sharing this, I think is a masterpiece as well. But now, how would you highlight the importance of this day, or what significance does it hold right next to your heart when we talk about 9th of Muharram?
9th, when we particularly speak about Ashura, it gives a message of peace, it gives a message of standing against oppressors, it gives a message of to the whole humanity, that how you have to face tolerance, how you have to face violence, and how you have to stand against violence and tyranny.
Okay, but now coming to today's life and the events which happen around us. Intolerance,
Wow.
impatience, annoyance, humanity, I don't think that it still exists. I mean, people do believe in humanity, and we should always believe in humanity. Things are getting better, but it's very rare to see within interpersonal communications and connections as well. People, they don't empathize. People, they do not feel for other humans, and not just humans. Animals too, there's too much of animal cruelty going on as well. And whenever we talk about this day, whenever we highlight the importance or the significance of this day, I think all of these things need to be in consideration.
As said, that, do you remember Hussain? Iqbal, when he wrote कि भरोसा कर नहीं सकते गुलामों की बसीरत पे कि फ़कत दुनिया में मर्दाने हुर की आँख है बीना. If you want to know who is human, just see who catches the attributes of Hussain. He is human. The one who can differentiate between Hussain and Yazid in any contemporary or past age, that particular person is human, and the other one is just a physical, material being, breathing just like inna sharad dawabi indallahi sumul bukmal lazina la jaqilun. Oh, you people who do not ponder, they're just like animals to me.
Exactly.
And Iqbal said that Hur was standing in the forces of Yazid, and he saw the noor, he saw the pride, he saw those lips, he saw those hands, he saw that gait. And Hur said, who else can be Hussain? Who else can take the grandeur of Prophet's side? Is it ordinary to take love of Prophet?
Obviously it's not.
We cannot even take the sight of Gumbad-e-Khizra.
Exactly.
And Hussain absorbed the love of Prophet. And Imam Hussain, when he was standing, and Hur said, sir would agree, and what the way Iqbal wrote, he said, we cannot trust the eyesight of bondage and slaves. My leader is Hur. And what is Hur? Hur is the litmus test of the society.
Exactly, that's what.
Hur defines that just follow whom the Hur is following.
Okay, so now if we are to follow, why aren't we following? Where do you think that we have been misguided? Have we misguided our own selves? Because we have these examples.
I want to add to this point that the problem is that we are out of orbit. We left the path.
Yeah.
We are not following the true path.
Okay, now since we need to get back on the track, right? What made us lose our path? Let's just identify all of those weaknesses first, and then pinpoint that, okay, you know, this can be better this way, this can be better this way.
Yeah, it is the best point that we are just a kind of people who just want to talk more or discuss more, but we practically don't follow anything.
Okay, so
and practically when we are not following any path, so we will lose our path.
So what you're trying to convey over here is that actions speak
that
louder
we
than
have
words.
to practically follow the lessons which are given by imams.
Okay, how can we practically follow those lessons? Let's talk about this then.
So practically we have to, whatever lessons are given by them, we should
What are those lessons? That's why we're here. We have to, you know, use this time very positively so that we can highlight.
Like humanity, like patience, like tolerance. These are lessons are given by them.
No, but they're nowhere to be seen. Violence is there, impatience is there, you know, tolerance is not there. I mean, let's talk about the society which exists today. We have talked about what happened.
Shehzad bhai, the society which fantasize power, would they be follower of Hussain? Do you think they are follower of Hussain? The society, let's come to structuralism, straightforward structuralism. The society which fantasize a bigger car, the society which fantasize a bigger home, the society which fantasize, I'm powerful, I beat 3 guys yesterday and they couldn't even stand against me. When our movies fantasize the structure of power, whenever the God gave choice not only to Imam Hussain, to any philosopher who believed in the philosophy, they all choose to stand with oppressors.
Exactly.
They stood with the poor. They stood. Karl Marx, the way Iqbal ranks him, is the only reason he stood with the poor people, not with the richer ones. You go back and find me one single person.
We know this structure, you know, I've mentioned it too as well. Now, how do we move forward? How do we take the message? How do we learn? And then how do we, you know, bring ourselves back on the track? Because we have tend to forgotten each and all of what have been taught to us.
Thomas Carlyle, 1946, he wrote a wonderful work stating hero and hero worship. When your heroes are defined in another dimensions, if Hussein is my hero, honestly, I would never even ask whom I have to follow.
Yeah.
Our worshipping heroes have been changed. Our worshipping principles have been changed. Our worshipping ideologies of success have been changed. Me and sir, we both are from the teaching backgrounds. When we fantasize the first student, do you think we would ever cherish the last one?
Exactly.
The way Imam Hussein stood with the last one, then wonderfully said by the sir, Imam Hussein said, oh, do you think I'm crying for the pain? Do you think this arrow hurts me? Do you think anything can hurt light? Do you think any object can hurt light? I cry for you, and I cry what others would do without me. How they will stand. We need Imam Hussein as a hero worship. There's a wonderful community in Islamabad, who I am Hussein. I am Hussein.o. I mean, they are doing a wonderful job. They wash cars. Shahzad Bhai's car is now looking nice, and this is what Hussein has done. This is what Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi once said, if in a time of demise, when Quran, Hadith or Sunnat, everything is quiet and you cannot find out what to do in this particular time, close your eyes and imagine what Prophet would have done.
Exactly.
Just close your eyes and see what Hussein would have done. Hussein would have stood with the poor ones. Hussein would have, Aqaid-o Jahan, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, if you want to find me in the broken hearts. And who could have carried? Honestly, I always cherish show with you because we both are in a newer phase of having kids.
Exactly.
Who could have cherished the royalty of Rasulullah except than Imam Hussein?
Exactly.
Sar dad na dad, das dar daste jazid. It was such an easier task. Sir, how difficult it is to go and take an oath.
No, but I want to bring the conversation to the point where, you know, earlier we were discussing that, you know, in your entire life you'll get financial crisis,
Wow.
you'll
Wow.
get sick, you know, over different phases.
There is a wonderful
over
verse.
different phases.
Wow.
So let's just talk about this point as well, because that's a U-turn. That's a complete
there is a
U-turn.
wonderful-
That's where you change the way. That's where you come back from. That's where you learn from.
Yes.
So let's just highlight
Great
that.
men are known by their adversity, atrocities they have seen. Great men are known how deep they stood in the mud. There is a verse of Quran, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَالنَّقْصِ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Verse 155 from chapter Cow. And there was a scholar, he is from Pakistan, he said that there are 5 major challenges every person has to face in his life. Scarcity of food, scarcity of wealth, fear, children, nothing higher than that. And then last, the conscious loads, the existential loads.
And all of that happened
To
at one time.
And there is a beautiful word using Bishaim. God will test anyone, Shahzad Sahab, Khurram, anyone, with something of fear, something of conscious load, something of scarcity of
Not
wealth,
all of it together.
and in different time phrase, in a larger quantum. And one of the scholar, Dr. Ali Shariti, he wrote, Imam never even knew what is more painful in Karbala. This arrow or my baby whom I'm leaving, or the pain of Ali Asghar.
Exactly.
And the way he stood, and again we were discussing, with all those major 5 pains mankind could face in one single time frame, look at the sanity in the eloquence of Imam Hussein when he gave the last sermon. Today is 9th Muharram, tomorrow on 10th Muharram, on the Ashura day. You cannot, or today we listen, let's go and have a chat on emotional intelligence, let's get a workshop. He is in complete turmoil, commotion, noises, pain, blood.
But still composed, contented,
So composed.
compassionate about all of those people who surround him.
Sir came from the field of literature. Sir, I think there could no better opening, body and a closing of a lecture on a 1 A4 size page.
Exactly.
I grew up with prophecies. I grew up with prophets.
And who else could have absorbed it all?
And who else could have?
Who else?
And in the last line, Imam Hussain said, which goes to the complete ummah said today, to which goes not even to ummah, even to the extraterrestrial bodies, where whoever can listen that. 63 years were less for all of you people. If you couldn't absorb the message of Kainate Do Jahan in those 63 years, do you think you would listen to his grandson? I do not cry for you. I cry when I look at the eternity of punishment which you are going to face.
Exactly.
Even today I'm worried about you.
Exactly. But now, sir, Hamza Sahab, how do you think, when now we've been moving forward as well, we have been evolving, the structure obviously defines quite a lot of weaknesses. Everybody is in search of power, everybody wants authority, they love it, people are getting egoistic, they have their self-esteem issues as well. And by 2020, depression would be the largest killer in the world as well. And the only reason that we have been pushed towards depression is that we have lost contentment, we have lost composure, and we do not feel compassionate about anyone now. So how do you think that moving forward we can bring back all of those values which were being taught to us?
Yes, that is because that our standards are changed, and these problems are existing because of those. So we have to give the values to those sayings, those doings, until we are not attached with them. Means as orbit leaves its center, so that is astray.
Okay, that is
so
great. Now that is something which everybody knows that this is not happening. Okay, now what we need to do is that being good citizen, being good humans within this society, we have to come up with ideas where we tell people that this is not the way of life. The way of life is this. We've got our role models, we have to cherish them, we have to highlight them, we have to make people aware that these were the things which were being done and we need to practice them again. Now, where do we start from?
Means you can take the lesson even from the day of Ashura. Okay, it gives you the lesson of patience, it gives you lesson of humanity, it gives you lesson which is having each and everything.
But easier said than done, no? That's what I'm saying.
Means that you have to take the lesson from their messages. Until we are not getting them, means like on day of Ashura, how many of the people are involved in
Okay, now if I may ask you, okay, so in fact I'll ask you, but ladies and gentlemen, we need to go for a short break. Don't go anywhere. The conversation is highly intense. And we make sure that, inshallah, you will learn something by the end of the show as well. But there's something very important which I want to ask Hamza Saab over here, and Shahir as well. As members of society, what do you think that you have given to this society? And this will be my question when we come back after a short break. Good morning. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. For everybody who just tuned into PT World and PTV Global, you guys are watching World this morning. Today is a special transmission and a dedicated show to 9th of Muharram. And the only reason why we're actually dedicating our show to this day and date is because of the fact we are Nachis. I mean, we know that as well. But to be honest, I think it is our responsibility, it is our sole responsibility to let people aware of all of those things which led to, first of all, such an incident. And then all of those sacrifices were made for a reason. We are here to highlight all those reasons so that we can inculcate them in our lives, and we can be better humans, we can be a better society, and we can stand against the oppressors. And on this day, I've been joined by Mr. Hamza and Mr. Khurram as well. And before going towards the break, I just wanted to ask them a question, and that was that, since we have lost so much because of the fact that we have been quite violent, that we haven't been very tolerant, we have been going through low self-esteems, we have been having egoistic issues, we are not happy with our neighbors, we are not contented, we are not composed, and this is why where we are today. But what have you given to the society from your end as a good human and as an ambassador of humanity?
As I am concerned, so I can, as a writer, as a teacher, I can convey my messages to my students or to my people through my writings. That's how you have to be patient, how you have to tolerate the differences of humanity. Means you are living in a society, there are a lot of differences. There can be a difference of sect, there can be difference of religion, there can be difference of status. So you have to go with each and everyone. And how you have to go, that is your patience, your tolerance, that you have to tolerate.
And it will take you away as well. Very nice. Khurram bhai.
So whenever I'm talking with my students, I always tell them not to give up smiles, but choose sadness. It's so wonderful, it's so powerful. Pain gives birth to every single invention of this universe. And not only in Ashura days, I always tell them, choose Hussein and Yazid. Whenever, Indu Kuwat, Iqbal said, Indu Kuwat, Azhayat, Ayat Padid, Musao, Firono, Shabiro, Yazid, Indu Kuwat. You would always be testified. I always tell people, look at the movie Matrix, red pill or the blue pill. Please go with the Morpheus. Please go with the one who is in pain. He will take you to the right path. Happiness would give you what? I'm so glad even in Ashura Day, you mentioned depression.
Exactly.
I don't know how many people have caught that catch out there in the society. Because what could have been a higher depression what Hussein was, oh Kufis, you left me? Is this how you treat grandsons? And Yazid, the way he's raging up his army every single day against children. So, he gave a message to all those existential people who are having attacks of existentialism, of dips, of depressions, that look, this is how you face. You bring morality first, then science. You will never go into existentialism. Be moral first. Don't be scientific first. This assumption of Imam Hussein, re-cherished by Dr. Ali Shariti in his work, The Isolated Man, the Existential Man, he said, please be primarily a moral being.
Exactly.
Even Hussein had an army, honestly, Yazid still would have left away. This was Hussein's way. This is what he has learned from his Nana, from his grandfather. Hinda, I know you're sitting here. I forgive you. Do you think the grandson of that Nana would have taken revenges and vendettas?
Exactly.
The highest form of depression is that we do not know why we are sad. Because someone has just bought a new phone, because someone is more happier today, we're sad today. And Imam Hussein said, so stay among the sad people. Be the prophet of the sad people rather than the rich people. Carry the manifesto of the sad people rather than of the rich people. They are not of your society.
Very well said.
Honestly, they are not the right representation. When Hussein was growing up, when people were asking, Ya Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, he's so much playing against you. And Prophet said, this is even a sunnat. Carry it among your families. Let your kids play with you when you're praying. And when that Imam carries that softness, that sanity, that grandeur of prophetichood, he ensured, I'm about to say the last thing, that even till the 300th century, no one would ever raise finger on Islam. Oh, grandson of Prophet, he just did a compromise. Where would today you and me would have stand?
Exactly.
We cherish his hardcore stand. Sardad, Nadad, Das Dar Daste Yazid, Hakka ke bina La ilah Ast Hussein.
What example,
Certainly, La ilah, has been protected by Hussein
Yes.
from what? Power, capitalism, morbidity, and every single shade of power.
Exactly. Wow. Very beautifully explained, and I think that was quite a lot for all those people to understand. There were quite a lot of catches as well, and you know, for once, if you'll be the ambassador of all those people who are not happy today, is just because of the fact, once you'll step up as an ambassador of them, imagine how happy you would actually make them, that finally they have an advocate too. And you have written something as well which you
Yes.
want to share with our viewers, right?
Yeah.
What is that? What is the concept behind it, first of all?
The concept of this poem is that how we have made the standards of humanity.
Okay.
So title of this poem is Standards of Humanity.
Standards of humanity coming your way, people.
The night has come when the sand was red-colored with holy blood of Ahlibeth. The night has come when the tents of Holy Family became a reason to enlighten a dark night. The night has come when vast and wide desert adorned with holy corpses. The night has come when looters and plunderers overjoyed their brutality. The night has come to differentiate between right and wrong, innocent and cruel, human and inhuman, humble and oppressor. Only one night is enough to judge the standards of humanity.
Wow, great it is indeed. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have to wrap up the show as well. Thank you very much, Khurram bhai. Thank you very much for coming. If you want to say something,
this
yeah,
is the
go.
last thing which I was just recalling.
Sure.
Water was unlucky that day. That's it. Water was very unlucky that day.
Very well said. Hamza bhai, do you want to say something?
This day is the most important day of our life, and we should remember it all the time.
Very nice. Thank you very much for coming over, gentlemen.
We've been honored.
And for all those people who actually took away something, thank you very much for that as well. Please make sure that you inculcate all of these things. Patience, tolerance, compassionism, and then be contented, be composed. I mean, this is all what will make you a saner human being, and this is something, all of these things, all of these activities will make you a better human being, and you will live a life which everybody would actually cherish, that, you know, we want to live it this way. It comes with a sacrifice, and that's why all of these messages came with a sacrifice as well. Please make sure that, you know, you make people aware around you within the society, make this place a better place to live, because this is what the message is. Please make sure that you stick to it and you stay true to it. Don't forget to write to us on our Facebook page, which is with the name of World This Morning. On Twitter, it's World This Morning without a G. On Daily Motion and YouTube, it's World This Morning. Tomorrow, we'll have more scholars and we'll talk about 10th of Muharram as well, and then the messages, how would they differentiate with each another of them, and then how do we really need to practice them? How do we make ourselves a gelled society with no hatred, with no violence? And how can we stand up for each other? And how can we stand up for all those people? How can we be the ambassadors of all those people who think that they are sad, and we can make them happy? Look after yourselves. Good morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you.